Hello, everyone. We are at the 22nd of June. This is the first evening in New Zealand community call at the request of Amy in the UK. So it's Sunday morning for you. And I think it's quite early in the morning, but it's so weird. We're in the middle of winter. Christine and I are kind of probably tucked up with hot water bottles. Yeah, it's dark outside. But welcome, welcome, welcome. And I would love to start. Amy, perhaps if you could share a little bit about what you do, where you are, what your garden or gardens are like, and huge gratitude for you offering flowers for the conference. Like, what have you
Okay.
got?
Okay, so it's the opposite here. So we've had some rain this morning, but it's been so hot. We're in a real sort of it's incredibly hot, too hot at the moment. So we're sort of peak flower time here. It's very sunny and warm and abundant at the moment. But my name's Amy, and I run a CIC called Heart and Soil Community that I set up in 2022 because I was working looking after a school site, a Waldorf school site, and tending it with older volunteers. And I just realised that the thing that they loved the most was composting. And we were just spending so much time doing it, and it was like a gift or offering to the site that just made everybody feel wonderful, and the site loved us back for that work. So I just wanted to bring composting to more people. And I think also I used it to calm my own anxiety about the environment. Um, just worry for the world and finding the pace of life so quick and too much. And it asked me to go at nature's pace, and that really helped me. So I wanted to do more of that and bring more of that to other people. So yes, I started this little CIC and got funding to deliver um, my course, Head, Heart, Hands Compost, which was all about it not feeling scary. It's strictly sort of a more intuitive approach rather than anything intimidating, um, based on the kind of elementals of air, water, fire, and earth. I did that across all the community gardens in Kent, and got a really wonderful response. It was really warmly received. Um, and then since then, I've done some work on bokashi composting too. So I've been looking at that to capture the bits of food waste that are harder to do. Um, so sort of grains and some animal products as well. So just been exploring that and making my own bokashi brand too. But in truth, I've had some health issues. So from December, I've sort of had to pause on my work. And yet composting is supporting me so much through this period of chronic illness. And I've continued to grow for someone. And the reason I grow for her is because she wanted support with her composting. Um, I grow in 3 places currently. So my home garden, which is a small, narrow terraced garden. I say small, it's sort of 100 foot, but quite squeezed and narrow. Um, and yeah, really integrated composting here. It's central to the site. The compost heap is in the middle of the garden. It's, there where we need it, where, it's not tucked away, it's not hidden away. And yeah, so there's that. That's part of our family here. And I also grow. So I grow for somebody locally. I haven't been able to for a month. I've been so unwell, but that's just sort of 5 minutes up the road. And I also have an allotment, and I've just put in some compost bays there. And I really want to do a big sign on them that says something about interdependence and how soil care embodies that. And I want it to be a space that isn't for me, it's for everyone. So yeah, that's me.
Wow.
Oh, and I'm picking some flowers for Katrina, just harvesting from my garden, and from the hedgerows locally. So I've had some, I've just got some rose and some mallow from the local sort of hedgerows. But yeah, just picking and drying flowers for Katrina's work here in September.
So appreciative. That's, yeah. And we'll talk about this another time, but I may be able to pop over for a like in real person visit. So I'm going to go visit my uncle after the conference, and looking on the map, it's like 45 minutes from where you are. That it's like
You're so welcome.
too close to like go halfway, the other side of the world and not make that extra
Yeah.
effort.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Christine, would you like to introduce yourself? Sorry
Yes,
to put you on the
I'm
spot.
Christine. I live in central Auckland. I live on quite a big urban section, or especially big for an inner city section. So I have gosh, what do I have? I have a 600-meter square section on the back and a decent amount on the front. So I have little gardens everywhere and little bits of compost everywhere. And every compost pile is composted differently with different stuff and different techniques, really. And I started really gardening because I was saving the butterflies and the insects. And so that's transferred me into growing herbs and flowers and eventually food. Yeah, yeah.
Got a magical garden. And I think Christine, the plum jam you gave me a few years ago, just like
Oh, right.
the best. Yeah.
Yes, no, I do have fruit trees. I forgot to mention the fruit trees. Yes, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. There's lots of busy, but so some of my garden was established obviously when I moved in here 8 years ago. So the garden itself is about 40 years old. So over the 8 years that I've lived here, it's got more and more of my taste into the garden. Yeah.
Very good. So let's move into the kind of Q&A. And I've been pondering a question that Christine, you sent me last week.
Yeah.
And I don't think I have the answer, but I'd love to share the question. Maybe Amy has some thoughts to share, and maybe people watching this on the replay may have some ideas. But shall I try and summarize it, or do you want to describe
I
the
could try and describe it. So I have a really long driveway. And so and I live sort of slightly below the road. So when it rains, I get all of the rain that comes down my drive and it goes onto the garden, and everything that grows, or actually as it hints to be, doesn't grow where that water grows. And I think it's all the contaminated water that grows comes from the road.
Hmm.
And so I've
So you
planted fruit trees and flowers, and yeah, nothing grows.
so your idea was something you saw at King Charles
Oh yeah.
Harbour?
Yeah, yeah. So currently I have a great big compost pile where the water starts to come through, and it's probably 2 meters cubed at the moment. So but yes, my plan is to grow some plants there, maybe some flaxes or native grasses to try and soak up the water so it doesn't go down into the rest of the garden bed, which is what they do at High Grove. They purify the water. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Mm.
So as I ponder that part of your garden, because I've been to your property and I can picture the slope and I can imagine the water flowing down, it's like I wouldn't be composting where that water is coming down, because if you're going to use that compost in other parts of your garden around the edibles, then you're
Yeah, no, it's not compost that I plan to move.
okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
um I have a sort of a crazy theory that when you move compost, it automatically starts to break down. So I only ever compost where I'm going to use the compost,
Okay.
apart from the odd bit that's in my black bin. So if I compost in the garden, it plans to stay there. Mm.
Okay. So then anything you plant there with the intention of soaking up the contaminants, like those poor plants.
I know. I
Yeah.
know. But further up the garden, I have some cabbage trees that have the same problem. They're down the driveway and they seem to be growing well. The ones
Mhm.
down the side of the drive that have the same problem.
Mm. Do you have
Mm.
thoughts to share, Amy?
Upset, pardon? Pardon?
Oh, did you have any thoughts to share? I saw you.
Oh, I just immediately thought of a buffer too, and just a way of holding it back, as you say, just to sort of keep it from reaching the rest of your garden. And I wonder, is there a lot of woody matter in that pile? Because could you kind of promote fungal action there and think about them as sort of having a role in remediating that material?
Yeah.
Sort of.
No, there's not a lot of wood there, but I could put some there. Mm.
Mhm.
I
Wonder
also
Yeah.
about that.
wonder about looking up the hill and down the hill and see if there's a way of facilitating some sort of drainage, like
Mhm.
Yeah.
stormwater, right?
Stormwater. They have just come and cleared the drains. Yeah.
We've had the most horrendous flooding in this part of the country over the last couple of years. Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
climate change. This is going to be more and more a thing.
But I
Weather.
think though that this is a common problem when I talk about it at the tree croppers and at Soil and Health. I'm like not the only one with this problem. This is a common problem. And they all talk about the water run where they can't grow anything.
Hmm.
So
I
I'm not
always think,
unique.
sorry, I interrupted you.
No, go.
I just always think of like people saying about sort of avoiding picking up leaves near storm drains or the roads or sort of paved surfaces because they can often sort of absorb a lot of the kind of pollutants that you'd find on the road. And I do feel like it is a sort of oh gosh, sorry, my brain's not thinking of the word, but it is something to really be thinking on. And I really relate because we have farmed fields around us. And whilst the farmer that is there and working at the moment is all right, sometimes, in the past they've sprayed, and that is very much, obviously going to have a bearing on us as a part of the ecosystem, as a part of everything. And it's just like, what do you do? It's sort of you have to kind of try and protect against that as much as you can. And what we do here, we have a very wild bank at the bottom of our garden, which is sort of kind of like a defence against the sprayed fields beyond. And it's sort of we've let that grow up. Like the real toughies, the nettles and the sort of black horehound and the cleavers that can just sort of hang on there. But yeah, I'm sort of thinking just like a buffer to try and protect your space. And as you say, if your heat there isn't moving, maybe just see if you could just enliven that heap and so it's like just this barrier to absorb it. But just care for that too. And but the things that are and the most robust plants that can cope with sort of human toxins.
I wonder if there is a blend of herbs or flowers that you make up a floral compost activator and offer it to that part of the garden with this intention of helping the microbes detoxify. And
I have been doing some flower activator down in that pile of compost and sort of just down the grass as it
mm,
heads to the fence. Yeah,
mm.
down like where the root would go. But it's a very made up, pristine recipe. It's no,
Do you want
like
to
I wouldn't.
share what you sent me in that DM of your first batch? Because I did laugh. You're right. It's like, I'm like, what is she doing?
Oh, I don't know if I've got the picture. Oh, I'll see if I can find the picture. Um, I've lost my page now.
And I'm quite sure that May Bruce would love to see people experimenting with all sorts of weird concoctions because it's all
Um,
adding life.
yeah. So, but I think it must be working because the birds have been eating out of it, out of the bucket.
There we go.
Have you got it?
Um, I-
Uh, where's my picture? Oh, did I only take it on Instagram? I don't even know where my picture is. I'll have to find it later.
no,
So all I did was I put a whole lot of um flowers in a bucket with my bokashi juice and some of my preserves that had gone weren't my taste. Yeah, so they were made with love and they had a really nice texture, but they weren't my taste. So we were never going to eat them. So I put a jar of my preserves that we weren't going to eat, the bokashi juice, and a bucket full of flowers and left them to soak overnight. And the birds have been having a great time in there, and I've been using that as my made up version. Yeah. Mm.
Amazing.
Yeah. Whether it works or not is yet to be seen, but it's certainly made with love. Yeah.
I bet the Bokashi love that sweetness.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I have put some of my preserves that haven't worked as well when I've instantly thrown them out into the bokashi, and they do love it.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to throw it out when you've made it. So yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
maybe something so microbially active as that might be what your bank needs, just to sort of supercharge it.
And like we're all soil geeks, compost addicts. That isn't that elevating the preserves? Like it's one thing to feed humans, but when we feed soil, like
Yeah, and it's funny that you should say that because
act of generosity.
someone gave me their Black Doris plums this year, and I made jam with it, and I gave it to a friend, and she said, "Doesn't taste like your normal jam." I was like, "How can it not taste like my normal jam? I made exactly the same, but it wasn't my fruit." Yeah,
There we go.
so maybe it does. We're yet to see. Yeah.
I would love to see you dig into that even more, like because there'll be people that do preserves and they aren't to their taste. That is there something in them that is good for the soil by fermenting it and letting it sit for a bit, like
And putting it back into the garden, maybe.
in a very intentional way.
Right, yeah.
Mm.
So all of my fruit that I don't use either goes through the worm farm or through the bokashi. Um, but of course my worm farm can't keep up in those summer months, so it has to go through the bokashi. Yeah. So but it does all go back to the trees and the garden. And anything that's a flop goes back as well. Yeah.
Very good.
Well, not a flop, just not
Um,
mine.
Now, do you have any questions around the sort of biodynamic herbs and how to get them going? Do you have the nettle?
No, because I'm really just starting out, so I'm a bit early in my question making. Yeah.
Let me know if you do.
Mm.
Amy, you've
Maybe
seen
in a couple of weeks.
biodynamic herbs and stuff. I'm assuming you're fine on that front, but do you have
I
any?
am, but sorry, my partner's just turned the tap on. Sorry, no, it's the oak bark thing. Can you explain about the oak bark and how would you just literally take some oak bark or is oak bark a flower?
This is the tool that I use. So I got that in a hardware store. It's a little bit like a cheese grater.
Okay.
And where's the oak? So I like to find a sort of traditional looking English oak tree. The oak behind my house is like a red oak. And I picked off a piece of bark and then
Yeah,
I just grate that.
grate it.
So that's my powder in the bottom of that cup.
Yeah.
And so it's a little, literally just a pinch in each batch. Now, when I've made oak bark preparation, like the proper biodynamic preparation, I've got one mentor who would saw off a branch, and like he recommended branches about that sort of thinner than your arm, like your forearm. But I don't like sacrificing a branch just so I get a little bit of oak bark. And I feel after I've sort of read some of the biodynamic literature, I feel like the older, thicker, chunkier bark has more of the qualities that we're looking for, not necessarily the thin cambium
Yeah.
nib, but you know,
Yes.
different ways of working.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Have you heard of like ramial wood chip or ramial? It's like, so the wood that's like a sort of 7 centimeter diameter, apparently being really sort of potent for the soil. If you chip it and then you add it to the soil.
Yeah.
So I don't know quite why it is so special for that reason. And I wonder whether that might be in the mix. There's less heartwood, I suppose. It's sort of, or there's more heartwood, perhaps. It
More.
hasn't got that
It's,
thick.
well, it's young and it's green, and when I
Yes,
but it's got
and
that
green.
smell, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, around here it would definitely be older oak trees. So there's a small wood quite close by. And when I think of the oaks there, they're big, big veteran trees.
And
And I think it would feel easier to take from them than a young tree.
you already work intuitively, don't you? You feel like if there was an oak that you felt was happy to offer that, then you
Yeah,
intuitively know whether it was breaking a piece off or cutting
yeah,
a branch that was
yeah.
growing in a direction that, I don't know. I think you just trust.
Mm,
Yeah.
hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. I also want to say I don't grow chamomile. I don't know why. I used to grow loads at school, but I just haven't got it here, and I don't have it on my allotment either. So that's not on the list. I can't offer that, unfortunately.
So,
Um, I can ask neighbours though, see if they have any.
um, I would like some for the conference, but I think
Yeah.
and it's like it's that time of year when I need to get serious about reaching out and like,
Hmm.
sorted. Yeah. But
I'm sure I can find some.
May Bruce said that it was the yarrow and the nettle that were the most important in terms of what they offer the soil. But then her
Hmm.
doctor colleague said all 6 of the plants are needed because they each have different healing properties, and that, as I
Yeah.
said, they address all disease, which I think is just
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting because it's sort of like yarrow and nettle is like the classic compost activator, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like really activating. And that's reminded me of another question. In terms of the nettle, is it nettle flowers that you're after? So tender flowers or leaves? And if
Leaves.
it is flowers, is it male or female?
Leaves.
Leaves. Okay. Oh, that's easy. Good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, I mean, she called it the quick return compost activator, and she based it on the biodynamic herbs. And
Hmm.
I've called it the floral compost activator because she was guided by this phrase that the divinity of the flowers is sufficient of itself, and that there are all these other flowers, and it's those flowers that I'm most interested in: the geranium, the lavender,
Hmm.
rose. But yeah, with the nettle, it was the leaves, just like the biodynamic preparation,
Hmm.
which is
Okay.
super simple. Yeah.
Hmm.
I've got a bunch of flowers that I went and picked today before it got dark that I could make a batch live now if that's of interest. I definitely want to get this into water. This is my first, what do you call these? Is it early cheer? They're almost like a daffodil, but they're not. But they like it smells so strong that
Yeah,
I'm
I don't know what they're called. They're quite an old-fashioned daffodil. I think they're older than the early cheer.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called either because I've got some, and I see some are out in Cornwall Park as well.
The
But I know
the
what early cheer looks like, and that's not
smell
them.
is so strong that I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. So I want to get this into an
But I think it is definitely like a heritage daffodil. It's definitely one that all our ancestors would have had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good. And what else? I also wanted to read just a paragraph to bring May into the conversation. But from chapter 4, and she talks about the compost in the garden. And just 2 paragraphs. The building of the heap may sound laborious, As a matter of fact, it is very simple. It soon fits into the routine of garden work and always carries with it a sense of anticipation. Opening a ripe heap never loses its thrill of amazement. The change is so dramatic, the aroma so sweet and satisfying, the soil so clean and vital. One cannot keep one's fingers away from it. But I'm not sure that the results of using the compost in the garden are not even more astounding. It gives the soil whatever quality it lacks, no matter what it may be. It transforms heavy clay into friable mold. It gives thin soil substance and hungry soil food. It suits every kind of plant. A clever Dutchman, an expert on soil, explained that point in his slightly broken English. But of course, do you not see? You're not giving to your plants one dish, you're offering them a restaurant, and they can choose for themselves. So, yeah, I think that's one of the things with biodynamics is the the plants accessing what they need from the soil. That we just give them
Mhm.
a smorgasbord. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So the other thing I want to cover
the
in
idea of it being ripe.
what's that?
I love what she says about ripeness, describing a finished heap as ripe.
Yeah. There's just nothing like it, is there? So something I have been experimenting with this week is I've got extra activator where from demonstrations, and I don't have any compost piles or worm farms that like need it, that I've started using it on my seedlings and my seed trays. And I did some transplanting today, and I swear these seedlings, they just feel stronger and it's not warmer, but it's almost like they're not struggling with the cold temperatures like I would expect. And I know intellectually that I'm thinking, oh, that's because they've got valerian, that it's warming things up and protecting them against the cold. But I'm wondering if there's more to it, that I think, like, wouldn't it be cool if this activator was not just for compost, but also for living plants? Yeah. So it's what I shall continue exploring this week. And now I will make a batch. So if I tilt my computer down so you can see the jar, and I'm going to start with the smelly flowers and drop them in. I'm not going to do the stalk. Then I've got pineapple sage, lots of this in flower at the moment. I like seeing flames and a fire in the garden. I think it's the only red that I've got at the moment. I picked a lavender. And I'm amazed that lavender didn't feature in the biodynamic compost preparations. Like, it's such a useful plant. I've got yarrow. So pop that in. And then chamomile. And with the chamomile, I feel like the base of the flower has some goodness in it. Drop that in. I've got borage. And I'm actually going to pop the whole lot in because I feel like the leaves and the stem have a lot of goodness in them. This is really cute, parsley in flower. So yummy. And then this is the first of the dead nettle. I can't remember its Latin name, but it's one of my favorite sort of quote unquote weeds. The valerian is a long time since it's been in flower, but I've got just a leaf to put some of the valerian essence in. And then I've got some actual nettle, and I'm just going to use the scissors to chop that in. And I don't know the name of this flower, but it's a tree with these beautiful purple flowers. Right, they are going to go in. And the last thing, this is what the bumblebees are sort of hovering around this week. It's like a jade, a money tree. And I'm just going to drop those flowers, and I'll probably pop this into some soil and grow a new plant from the cutting. Oh, one other little one there. That's a little euphorbia and flower. So then I'll add water. And some honey. And give that a stir. And then a tuning fork. I've ordered another tuning fork. This one is Jupiter, and I've ordered one with a Schumann resonance. Give that a shake, and probably put some more water in and let that sit for 24 hours. So the invitation is to go find a bunch of flowers in your garden and make up a mixture that's not necessarily the biodynamic herbs, just whatever is flowering and you feel would be beneficial to the garden. And post a photo or share a little story or video if you feel like it.
Where would you like us to post it? In here?
Oh, in Substack would be
In
good.
Substack.
Yeah. So that's all that I've got for today. I'm happy to answer more questions or any suggestions you have on things that I could be researching or sharing or looking into.
I think the perennial nature of a lot of the plants is important. You know, and annuals and perennials. Do you think, like I was thinking, oh, I love calendula. It seems so full of life and oily, you know, but is that not going to have the same benefit because it's not a perennial that's got those deep tap roots? And like you said about borage, you feel like borage is just full of like minerals and everything that is needed because it's like a comfrey plant. It's got that deep, you know, sort of harvesting from the soil, and it's full of life, isn't it? Full of sort of or just like a calendula sort of live fast, die young. Is it going to be the same?
I think it is. I think calendula
Okay.
has so much to offer. And in fact, so it's going to show, I was at the supermarket today and National Geographic have this
I saw that, yeah.
on nature's medicine in it. Yeah. So there's a section in here on calendula and how useful it is for
Mm-hmm.
herbal remedies. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's good for humans. It's going to be great for the soil.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And chamomile's an annual,
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I think even some of the tiniest little flowers, like fennel flower, has so much flavor.
Yes, yeah,
That
yeah, definitely.
what would that do to the soil? Catnip, like, and some of the more sort of not invasive weeds, but the weeds that we don't eat. What
Mm.
do flowers have to offer us? And can we?
I'm thinking of green alkanet here. Do you have green alkanet there?
Don't know
It's
it.
sort of slightly prickly like a comfrey, but it has tiny like forget-me-not like blue flowers. It's such a thug. Honestly, it just sort of give it half a chance and it will sort of seed into the farmers' fields here with the borage. They'll both kind of seed into the farmers' fields. They can just cope. They're so kind of such robust plants. Yeah, they're so strong. They're so strong
What's it
here.
called?
Green alkanet. So that's ALKANET. It's slightly prickly. The bees absolutely love it.
Mm, sounds delightful.
I've saved some for you.
Please do. And will it be still be in flower when I get there?
You might find it is. It's kind of an early sort of spring, early summer plant here. So you might not, but if it's sort of continued to set seed and go again, you may find there's some. Yeah.
Just imagine walking around English gardens and going like, wow. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. All right. I am gonna stop the recording for this week.